So, if you guys don't know, Victor Wembanyama has a 17-year-old brother. Yes, the guy has a 17-year-old brother. There is another. There is another Wembanyama. And in this video, we're going to be talking about his NBA chances, whether or not he's going to be, I think, in the 2026 NBA draft, he's eligible. There's rumors of him potentially going for the 2026 NBA draft. And we're going to talk about all of that today. But before we get on to things, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 9.3 thousand subscribers by the end of the day. And right now we are only 13 off. We're going for 10K by the end of January. And if we could somehow manage to hit that, that would be absolutely incredible. But first of all, the first real footage of Oscar Wembanyama playing basketball came during the NBA Academy. And look, you can see there's some like raw athleticism, raw like potential there, and he's coordinated. That's the one thing about Oscar Wembanyama is he's coordinated. He hasn't played that much basketball in his life, which is funny because even when Victor Wembanyama was out there balling, when he was out there dominating in basketball, his brother was playing a lot of handball. So his hand-eye coordination is really good, but you can tell from a lot of these clips that he's just not, like, again, most of these clips aren't even him. Yeah, like, it's just random clips from random players. But from just anything you've seen, there is a level of coordination there in Oscar Wembanyama that is, like, not that it's hard to teach, but like you can tell that he kind of has a good enough feel, but he hasn't even played that much basketball. But I was trying to look through his stats this season. So Oscar Wembanyama, obviously, he has an account on FIBA, which means he's probably been registered to play for France. But obviously hasn't made an appearance for the French national team, even at underage, and he's about to turn 18. Like, he turns 18 in 2 months, which is not, like, look, he's not that young a kid. And if you're looking at his stats playing in the Adidas Next Generation tournament for Asvel, he averaged 2.4 points a game. Last season, he averaged 2.5 points per game, and he averaged 2.4 between 2 seasons. He played 5 minutes a game last year. Didn't make a field goal in the Next Generation tournament. And look, again, like, this is a kid who's probably been playing basketball about 3 years, and the Adidas Next Generation tournament is like, it's a really tough level of basketball. Like, it's probably higher than any individual. Like, there might be unbelievable high school teams, but I'd say as a whole, the level of play is probably a bit higher, somewhere between high school and college basketball. It's a level of college, but like not high level D1. And he didn't do much in these games. He really didn't. And if you're looking at him this year, he has 1 minute or one appearance in a Pro A game for Strasbourg. He's played once. So he's no longer with, obviously not with Asvel, but he's played literally one game and has played less than a minute of Pro A basketball this season. And it's just, we got to be completely honest when it comes to Oscar Wembanyama. If his surname was not Wembanyama, he would not be an NBA prospect. He just wouldn't. Like, if we're going to criticize, but if we're going to be honest, completely honest about the fact that Bronny James is not an NBA player if his surname isn't James. Bryce James is not a D1 player if his surname isn't James. The difference is that Oscar Wembanyama is 3 to 4 inches taller than Bryce James. He's 6 inches taller than Bronny. So there might be something there. But, like, man, I don't even think Oscar Wembanyama could play D1. And I mean that. Like, people are like, oh, he could be like Thanasis. Man, Thanasis was a player in his own right. Like, Thanasis was a player. Thanasis made the NBA without Giannis's help. Like, we got to forget that. When Thanasis was drafted, Giannis was averaging 10 points per game. Was averaging single-digit points per game in the NBA. Whereas Oscar Wembanyama is like, he's got the name. He looks like Victor. But he is nearly a foot smaller and worse at everything. He's not as good a shooter. He doesn't handle the ball as well. He is a guy that a team might take like a Costa Antetokounmpo at the end of the second round and hope that he just develops physically. And maybe they hope he has the same mentality as Victor. Because that's one thing we don't know, is if he's the same mentality as Victor. But being completely honest, he's okay at basketball. That's the only way I can describe him. He is okay. He's not bad, but he's only okay. So we have got, obviously there is a thread right here. One respecter wishes to write his own story. If he's available on the board and we can draft him, why not? Like, as a French youth basketball guy, he has some potential. He's nowhere close to being the best prospect. His team, this was last season, played Cholet 24 hours ago. They got blown up by 20 and he dropped 14. They had another guy who dropped 31. That's under 17. So he's averaging, like, what, double digits at his own age. Last year, under 18s in the next generation tournament was coming off the bench. Like, not even coming off the bench, playing garbage time minutes. Like, it is a reality. Like, he doesn't play at all in under 21. He played 1 minute in the Pro A. And at this age, lads, Victor Wembanyama was, like, getting good burn at EuroLeague. Started sport late, made available, been a solid role player. Wemby's 1 of 1. Man, I don't see it. If Oscar, someone said if his name were Oscar Smith, would you be interested, man? He's projected in the mid-20s in the draft, which is crazy. Like, people talking about him going into the mid-20s. Like, this is his stats playing in the freaking, like, Adidas Next Generation tournament. Like, that is the problem. It's like, I said, if Toronto pick comes away 7 or 8, so I find team drafting him the 11 and 15 range. Like, man, Oscar Wembanyama is literally he just has the surname. Like, this guy, look, I assume he's a good kid. I hope he does improve. And you know what? If he's taking up the sport late, so there is potential for him to improve. This guy is so far off the NBA. He's so far off. He's so far off. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. He is so far off being D1 in the States level player. He is so far off that. Like, he is, I would say he is like, he's like Bryce James level. Like, I would put them at a similar level. Like, he's so far off even at Bronny James. I'd put him at Bryce James level from what I've seen. And, like, obviously you're looking at the stats that he's putting up and he's barely playing. Like, I've played, like, that French under-21s league is legit. Like, he's barely got off the bench for his team, but, like, that league is legit. We had a dude, like, last year playing here that was averaging, like, 10 points a game, that under-21s league, and he's legitimately, I don't think I've ever seen an Irish, I've seen Irish guys his age better, but, like, only the best of the best. And any Irish kid I had seen that was better than him were one of the Irish kids that were starters at D1. This dude could have played D1 college ball in the States, and he was, like, averaging, like, low double digits in that French under-21s league. Like, that league is legit. And obviously not getting minutes in that league doesn't mean that you suck at basketball, because Oscar Wembanyama does not suck at basketball. But we do have to calm down on him, because a lot of people talking about, oh, when's Wemby's brother going to be ready for the draft? Man, he is worse at basketball, at every aspect of basketball than Wemby, and he's a foot smaller nearly. Like, he is just another decent kid with a bit of potential. And the reality is that Wembanyama was 7'3" at 16. Wembanyama towered over Zach Edey in the under-19s when he was Oscar Wembanyama's age. Wembanyama was 7'5" when he was 17, whereas Oscar Wembanyama is 6'7" and coordinated, sure, athletic, sure, but, like, not compared to NBA guys. And obviously hasn't even played that much of the sport. So it is an interesting one. Look, could he become something? Maybe. Will a team draft him and then stash him in the G League? Maybe. Should a team draft him? Hell no. Not right now. Unless he has a massive improvement, there's no situation where he should be even talked about. Not only as, like, a potential lottery pick, he should be even talked about as a second round pick. Heck, he shouldn't even be talked about as a potential undrafted summer league guy right now unless he makes a big improvement.